Hey, I'm Mike Background. Today we're going to take a look at two really great Allan Holdsworth lines, as well as taking a look at two of Allan Holdsworth's signature concepts he uses all throughout his playing. Let's take a look. Before we get started, if you enjoy the video, please give it a like. It really helps the channel to grow. And if you enjoy this sort of content, I release new jazz guitar lesson videos every single week, so please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my newest releases. And if you want to support me further, please consider checking out my Patreon, where I release PDF files for every single one of my lesson videos, as well as weekly transcriptions. So let's get started. When we think about Allan Holdsworth, we usually think about his legato playing, and he is such a king of that. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. This first line is played over a 2-5 in the key of G minor. So we have A minor 7 flat 5, D7 altered, to G minor 7. We're starting this line on a D natural. And we hammer onto E flat and F on the 12th, 13th, and 15th fret on the 4th string. And then we go to the next string, do the same exact thing. G, A flat, B flat on the 12th, 13th, and 15th fret on the 3rd string. Then we go to the next string, and we're going to hit B flat again, but this time on the 2nd string, on the 11th fret, hammer on to C, hammer on to D. And then on the 1st string, we go E flat, G, F, E flat. So we're kind of turning around so we can start descending over the D7 chord. And I really think that this is all triplets except for the first note, which is on the and of 4 as a pickup into the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Once we get to D, we're going to play D on the 2nd string and 15th fret. Then we're going to go to the 1st string, F, E flat, which are sharp 9 and flat 9. And then we're going to go to the 2nd string, D, C, B flat, root, flat 7, sharp 5. Then we're going to play B flat on the 3rd string, B flat on the 2nd string, A flat, pull off to G, and then F, E flat, D. And generally, as I'm picking through this line, I'm only picking once per string. The rest is hammer-ons and pull-offs. So here's our full line. Now you might notice a couple times in this line where Allan plays B flats one after the other on adjacent strings. And that's our first Holdsworth concept, is the use of unisons. This is something that John Coltrane used a lot too, and I have a feeling Holdsworth might have got this from there. We play something like, that gives us a really cool unison sound, where we're kind of hitting the same note 3 times in a row, and Holdsworth does this all the time in his playing. So this particular example, we're going G, A flat, B flat on the 3rd string, 12, 13, 15, and then B flat on the 2nd string, and then back down, B flat, A flat, G. Holdsworth will also use this on different string sets. It just involves a bigger stretch. So we'll do it here on this kind of pentatonic shape. So we're going here on the 8th fret of the 4th string, B flat, C, and with our pinky we're grabbing the 13th fret, that E flat there on the 4th string, then E flat on the 3rd string, and then back down our shape. Now the second line is a 2-5 in the key of B flat, C minor 7, F7. Now he never gets to B flat here. We're just playing C minor 7, F7. And we're starting here on the 10th fret of the 3rd string with an F. And we're going to go F, E natural, D, E flat, F. So we're kind of enclosing the E flat. And once we get to F, we go to G. So those are our first 6 notes. And then once we get to G here, we go to B flat, A flat, G, A flat, B flat, and then we jump up to E flat here. So that's the C minor portion of the line. Now over C minor, with the exception of that enclosure, he's playing out of C natural minor, C Aeolian. Now once we get to E flat, we're going to play E flat on the 11th fret, F on the 13th fret, G on the 15th fret, pull off to F on the 13th fret, hammer on to G, and land on A. I'm shifting positions without picking again. And that leads us to our second concept of Holdsworth playing, is position shifting through a legato line, repositioning our fingers while we continue to do hammer-ons and pull-offs. So here's an exercise I came up with to practice that concept. We're going to take an F mixolydian scale, which is the same as B flat major. We're going to start here on F, and we're going to ascend the scale 3 notes at a time in a triplet pattern. But we're going to pick once, and we're going to shift our positions while we do that. F, G, A, shift our first finger to G, A, B flat, shift our first finger to A, B flat, C, shift our first finger to B flat, and so forth. And by that same token, we can also descend. A, down to F, pinky on G, down to E flat, pinky on F, down to D, and so forth. Now, this concept is also a really great way to practice your scales one string at a time, because you're able to work on legato while also working on your fretboard knowledge. That's a win-win. You're getting two things done at the same time. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this Allan Holdsworth stuff. I love Holdsworth. I love everything he ever did. He's easily one of my favorite players of all time, and such a unique conception of the instrument. Nobody plays like him. Nobody sounds like him. Nobody phrases like him. Nobody has vibrato like him. He's just unbelievable to me. So these are just a couple small parts of his playing that we can grab into our own playing. And I recommend when you practice this stuff, practice it clean, like I'm playing here, but also practice it with gain if you're going to play in that style, because practicing clean will make sure you actually have the notes down. Make sure you actually are committing the hammer-ons and pull-offs in a good sounding way, and they're getting enough volume, because the gain can boost that. You want to make sure you got this cleanly without that. But you also want to practice with gain separately, because while you're doing all these hammer-ons and pull-offs, you could easily be sounding other strings by accident, and with distortion or overdrive on, you'll hear it, whereas on a clean channel you might not. So thanks for checking out today's lesson. Keep practicing. I'll see you next time.